I'm all but certain that the critics who reviewed this film should be arrested for their crimes. We're going to do a bad film review on How the Grinch Stole Christmas. So here we have the critics' scores using the app that I use to look at the scores for these to decide which ones go into the bad film reviews. The Rotten Tomatoes is sitting at 52%. The Metacritic score is sitting at 46%. The IMDb score would translate to a 61%. The Rotten Tomatoes audience score is a 55%, and the Metacritic's user score is a 66%, giving us an average score of 56% for this film. So for anyone who hasn't been on my channel before or hasn't seen one of my bad film reviews, what I do is I take a film and I break it down into 10 parts. I give each of those 10 parts a score out of 10 individually, and then add the scores up for a total percentage out of 100. Those 10 parts are scripting, casting, acting, directing, cinematography, editing, set design, soundtrack, special and visual effects, and then its accuracy to the source material or its originality as a new concept, depending on what the film calls for. And so I'm going to try and breeze through my scores as quickly as possible, keep this video as short as possible, and yeah, let's get straight into it. So for scripting, I gave it a 9. I liked the characterization of the Grinch and how they sort of made him this more intelligent thing rather than just like a mindless thing that hates Christmas for whatever reason. I liked that they sort of gave him a bit of a backstory as to why he hated him and sort of humanized him a little bit more. And I liked the overall character arcs of 4 out of the 5 major characters in this film, because one of them just doesn't change. And so overall I thought it was a really solid script. The casting I give a 7 to. Those same 5 characters were portrayed really well by the actors that were cast in those roles, and they've since gone on to other projects that I still enjoy. So I'll start sort of at the bottom of the pile. Bill Irwin, who played Lou, has since appeared in the TV show Legion, which is sort of like an X-Men show, if you haven't heard of it before, which I thoroughly enjoy. Christine Baranski, who plays Martha, currently, I think still plays Leonard Hofstadter's mother in The Big Bang Theory. Jeffrey Tambor, who plays the mayor, has been in a multitude of other things that I've seen him in, but chief of which that come to mind are the Hellboy movies, where he plays the leader of the organization that Hellboy and Abe Sapien and Liz are all a part of, and he also plays Alan's dad in the Hangover trilogy as well. Jim Carrey is like the perfect Grinch. Obviously he's, as the Grinch, now been turned into a variety of memes, but he's also got like some documentary series on Netflix, and a lot of his other movies from around about 2000 era, which is when the film was released. A lot of his other roles then are sort of films that I remember watching as a kid. So yeah, you can definitely see sort of like the Riddler coming through in his portrayal of the Grinch, especially with how intelligent they made the character. It just sort of fit really well for Jim Carrey. Also a little bit of the mask as well, which was really cool. And Taylor Momsen, who plays Cindy, is now the front woman for the band The Pretty Reckless, which is one of the bands that I like to listen to, like in the car on my way to work and stuff. So that's kind of cool that I've unknowingly been listening to Cindy Lou Who on my way to work every day. So that was kind of cool as well. Acting, I gave an 8 to. As I just said before, Jim Carrey's portrayal of the Grinch is near perfect. And it's just everyone else's acting that sort of brought that down from a 10. Not to say that they were bad portrayals, they were all really good portrayals. It's just that when you've got other characters that are, you know, just playing sort of a generic father role, as is the case for Bill Irwin's character, next to Jim Carrey's Grinch, it does sort of, as a whole thing, bring the score down just a little bit. So an 8 for acting. Directing gets a 7. I do think that all of the actors added a little something extra to their characters and made their characters their own. But I still really liked some of the directing choices that Ron Howard put into this film. Cinematography is a 6. This is actually the lowest score that I've got for this film. And yeah, it's sort of largely like generic camera work, as far as, you know, capturing people's faces and emotions and how they deliver, like the way they deliver their lines and stuff, and how it's framed. It's all sort of fairly basic camera work. I do like, well, I really like the shot of, or any of the shots of the top of the mountain at sort of like the climax of the film. I do think they're all really good shots, and sort of show off the scenery really well, as well as any of the shots during when the Grinch actually steals all the presents and stuff. That was really good as well. So a 6 for cinematography. Editing gets a 7, because there were certain things that you can only do through editing, as far as the way the film looks at the end, that I liked more than how the actual shots themselves that they used were framed. So yeah, editing gets a 7. Set design gets an 8. It looks almost exactly like the Dr. Seuss book, when you have like the sort of wide angle shots of like the streets in Whoville, and you have all like the weird shapes in the buildings and stuff. I thought that was really, really good that they kept that sort of book accurate. So set design gets an 8. Soundtrack gets a 7. A little bit of bias on this one, and that's purely because Taylor Momsen actually recorded a song for the album, which is the one that she performs in the movie itself when she's sort of doubting what Christmas is. So soundtrack gets a 7. Special and visual effects also gets a 7. No, you know what? Special and visual effects gets an 8. I'm gonna change my score here and now. So, because what I liked with the visual effects was that, like the fingers of the Grinch, with like the felt that they used to make them like come out to like here or whatever, was really cool. As well as the prosthetics that they put on everyone's face to give them that sort of like snout looking nose of a Who. They did that really well, and so that sort of goes into the visual effects and stuff. There are some explosions as well, and they did those. You know, they were still pretty basic, but otherwise, the special and visual effects gets an 8, and its accuracy to the story gets an 8 as well. It's not that complex a storyline in the book, so you really do have space to bring in creative license. So yeah, that's why it's not a 10. It's because of the creative license that they were then able to use, because of the fact that the story's not that complex a plot line. And so that brings us to a total of 75, and I've just remembered that I didn't even include one of the casting bits. The narrator of the film is Anthony Hopkins, and I think the one little like fourth wall breaking moment where the Grinch tells the narrator to be a little bit quieter when he's sneaking into a house is really well done as well. So yeah, a 75, which is a far cry from the 53, I think the overall score for the critics was. Far cry from that, but that is what I think this film deserves. If you agree, make sure you give this video a thumbs up, and yeah, until next time, guys. Thanks for watching the video, guys. If you liked that, please don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you're notified when I upload a new video. I upload every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Don't forget to give this video a big thumbs up and share it with your friends as well. And if you want to see more content in between uploads, you can follow my Instagram at Ace of the Arts or my Tumblr at Stories Around a Campfire. And I will see you in the next video.